you're also referring to, the type of oils that they use in, deep frying for large quantity and all that.
Absolutely. It's the entire range. I mean, if you were to go to any market, wherever you're watching us at the moment, go to the market in your city or in your neighborhood, and you look at the kind of oils that are on sale. So those are the kind of things that we're referring to.
Indeed. And of course, if you think that you're being careful enough in what and where to buy the oils, what about as Kingsley said earlier on, the urban areas and settlements with attendant flurry of course, bucaterias, restaurants, hotels, where large-scale cooking, of course, is done.
That's right. Of course, if you're not even a frequent patron at the food vendors, then of course, you must have been a guest at one of several parties in Nigeria. And usually at such occasions, you have a range of meals that are served, including the now very popular small chops. Before they now come to the main course, they will ask you whether you want fried rice, that fried is with oil, or jollof rice is with oil, or you want swallow. Again, we have talked about the swallows. Usually, they don't get to serve Santana at parties.
All right. So
Santana, by the way, is akbu. That's just.
Oh, is that what it's called, Santana?
It's a psychedelic name for akbu, otherwise known as 6 to 6. You take it 6 in the morning, you are unlikely to take anything else until 6 p.m.
He's talking from experience.
No. It's not. I mean, with the greatest respect to those who take it, it's not on my menu.
All right. So this morning, I know so many people will be watching because this is very important. We're asking, what makes a good cooking oil? What is the effect on our well-being? What is the standard for storing? That's very important. And preserving cooking oils. And what is the health implication of using wrong oils? And there are wrong oils.
Yeah, that's right. The experts, of course, will be here to tell us, Claire. And more importantly, you find that particularly for food vendors, there is a tendency for them to use and reuse their oils. And when the level goes down, particularly those who are frying akara or fried what do you call it, fried yam, dodo. In fact, they just pour some little quantity into it, and it goes on and on.
Very interesting.
What is the implication of that on your health, and more particularly your heart, because that's the engine room of any human being. So what are the consequences?
Yes, one other question to ask is, who is regulating what comes into the market space and ultimately consumed? Of course, critical questions there.
No doubt about that, Claire. Those are the questions that we'll be taking a look at in the first segment of our conversation. We also have a second topic, and that will be on an independent campaign platform, which involves civil society groups, ethnic and religious organizations, and they will be unveiling their plans to embark on what they call a massive grassroots campaign for President Muhammadu Buhari.
All right. Now, the platform is known as Forward with Buhari Group, and they say that they are coming, now we're quoting, coming together to galvanize support of all well-meaning Nigerians to continue to build a country that represents shared aspirations and belongs to all. And that's irrespective of economic or social status. Now, how they plan to do all this is also of interest to us this morning on Good Morning Nigeria. And it's on this note, as always, I welcome all of you, a very esteemed viewer, wherever you're watching from. I know people are watching in the UK through one of our, times and all over the country. Welcome to the last edition of Good Morning Nigeria for this week. We are reaching you live, as usual, on Africa's largest TV network, the NTA. I am Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. I join Claire in also welcoming you to this edition of the program, in the course of which we shall have regular companion segments. And our regular viewers, of course, know what those regular compartments are with regard to the tailpiece of the program. But in the meantime, let's take the highlights of the morning news. And here is our colleague, Fatima Omar Buba. Fatih, so what's Tuwo Shinkafa or kose, or kose, by the way, is akara.
What kind of oil would you prefer?
Akara. But there's also one they call masa. Masa is the fried.
Masa. You're talking about mustard or masa.
Yeah, masa.
I can go masa all the way from morning till night.
What is masa for the benefit of our viewers?
Okay, masa is a snack made from either rice or millet. You know, it's made with vegetable oil. It depends on the oil you prefer. But I prefer the groundnut oils, actually. Yes.
I'm sure you're going to have it after the news now.
Yes, I think I'm going to do that. Okay. Good morning. You're welcome to the news. Zik Mausoleum and Conference Center executed at about 2 billion naira to give a deserving honor to the first president of Nigeria, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, has been formally inaugurated. President Muhammadu Buhari, who performed the ceremony in Onitsha, is hopeful that the edifice will serve as a reminder to Nigerians the best values that Zik of Africa espoused in knowledge, service to humanity, and leadership.
Does not need this house. It is we who need Zik's name to give this house a meaning. My hope is that this building will serve the purpose of promoting nationalism, patriotism, and public service. As you join me in building the Nigeria that we all want, may your service and contribution not go unnoticed, and may they inspire the next generation to do more as Zik has done and has inspired us all.
President Muhammadu Buhari says all policies, programs, and critical decisions by his administration on national issues are taken not only conscientiously, but with high sense of responsibility and patriotism. The president stated this while exchanging views with traditional, religious, and community leaders at the palace of Obi of Onitsha during a courtesy visit.
I expect you to be more patriotic in the presentation. I think I try to be fair. Appointments in the armed forces and other law enforcement agencies depends on individual performance after recruitment, not what state you come from, or what ethnicity you are, or what religion you belong to. At least this, between me and God, it's my understanding and it's what I do. I am here as an APC presidential candidate. And I hope you will convince your subjects to vote for me and not to vote for your governor's party's candidate. Thank you. Thank you very much.
In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it is impossible for any presidential candidate to withdraw from the race now. Chief Press Secretary INEC Rotimi Oyekami, in a statement, makes reference to the electoral timetable and schedule of activities for the 2019 general elections, that the last day for withdrawal by candidates or replacement of withdrawn candidates by political parties was 17th November 2018 for presidential and National Assembly elections. The statement says the deadline, therefore, for Ezekwesili or any candidate in that category to withdraw or be replaced has passed. And the House of Representatives will Monday next week conduct a public hearing on the new national minimum wage bill of 27,000 naira transmitted to the House by President Muhammadu Buhari. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the Speaker Yakubu Dogara announced this at Thursday's plenary.
People who depend on salary, whose incomes are fixed, are at the mercy of inflation.
I'm urging my colleagues to support the second reading of this bill so that Nigerian workers can earn the minimum wage.
It is hoped that the committee will report to us on Tuesday, and by the grace of God, we'll pass it on Tuesday, and then we can close the session until after elections.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has expressed as heartwarming the enthusiasm of the people of Kwara State and their yearning for a change in administration and governance, just as he dismissed Senate President Bukola Saraki's allegations over the last by-election in the Federal House of Representatives election in Kwara State.
What is happening in Kwara State today goes beyond campaigning for election. It's about a mass movement. It's about a revolution. I came here very confident that we're going to win. But I'm leaving here even much more confident. I've been amazed by the level and depth of the determination, commitment, and sacrifices of the leaders. They are reaching out to electorates. Electorates themselves are saying, no, it's not about money. It's about freedom.
Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal has restrained the Code of Conduct Tribunal from proceeding with the hearing of allegation of false asset declaration filed against the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onnoghen, pending the determination of the appeals before it.
Court of Appeal has stayed proceedings at the Code of Conduct Tribunal pending its ruling of Wednesday.
But we are concerned that the tribunal there is holding its records. It's not fair.
The Court of Appeal has overturned the decision of the FCT High Court declaring Professor Jerry Ghana presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party and declared Donald Duke as the duly elected candidate.
Well, it's elating, but I know, it's time-consuming. We've been gerrymandering for a long time on this matter, so it's good to put it at bay and face what we want to do to ensure that we not only put our party in the forefront, but go ahead to win the elections.
Well, that's the news for now. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Claire and Kingsley right after the break.
Unemployment, notably youth unemployment, features strongly in our party's manifesto. We intend to attack the problem promptly through revival of agriculture.
The 30K is going a long way. Actually, I bought an acre of land for 60K like 2012, and presently I have a cassava farm and a yam farm.
My name is Muhammad Sahabi Audi, Chairman, Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Rifan, Kebbi State Chapter. The coming of this administration in 2015, when President Buhari came to Kebbi State and launched the Anko Boros program. Under the program, farmers are given all the needed inputs in terms of fertilizer, water pumps, agrochemicals, and even cash for purchase of fuel. So farmers become more and more encouraged and began to expand their land to produce rice. We now have farmers who have actually taken rice farming as business. They're making profits. Our youth are into rice farming. We have many retired workers and serving civil servants who have businessmen going into rice farming. So rice farming is now a business in Kebbi State.
Sore throat, It's often caused by bacteria and viruses. Feels like you're having a party. You need Strepsils. It soothes the pain, plus it fights the germs with 2 germ-killing actives. Double power in 1 lozenge. Bye-bye sore throat. Take Strepsils.
What's up?
His friends didn't come.
Hey, let's practice.
But you're going out.
Don't worry about me.
Nothing satisfies a mother more than seeing a child grow up. But I know as he sweats, he'll face the risk of germs which can cause skin irritation.
That's why you need the new best ever Dettol Cool. Its new advanced formulation with extra menthol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs and gives your family icy cool freshness.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
The Candidates, a presidential town hall co-production between Daria Media and NTA, supported by the MacArthur Foundation. Kingsley Mogalu and running mate Umar Getso of the Young Progressive Party, Muhammadu Buhari and running mate Yemi Osinbajo of the All Progressives Congress, Omoyele Sowore and running mate Rabiu Ahmed Rufai of the African Action Congress, Atiku Abubakar and running mate Peter Obi of the People's Democratic Party. Moderator, Hadria Ahmed. Town Hall venue, Sheraton Hotel, Abuja. Next Town Hall, Wednesday, 30th January 2019, with the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, from 8 to 10 p.m. The candidates will be broadcast live on NTA and other partner TV and radio stations, as well as streamed online on NTA and DTV.media. If you are over 18 and want to be part of the audience, apply online at daria.media. Or use the hashtag NGTheCandidates, or participate online using the hashtag NGTheCandidates.
Welcome back to the program. If you've just joined us, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and it's time to talk business. Now, a total of 2.97 billion naira is set to be unaccounted for by different contractors on 30 projects, and that's based on facts in the 2016 audit report of the Federation. Kunle Ade has details of this and more.
A non-governmental organization, Paradigm Leadership Support Initiative, in its independent report disclosed that these projects were inspected in 12 states of the Federation. Representatives of the body itemized that one of the projects has been completed, 2 were not executed, 10 abandoned, 3 poorly implemented, another 2 ongoing, and 1 provided for in the 2018 appropriation, which are mostly in the hinterland. If completed, they said the projects will have opened up the areas in terms of economic activities, since they are projects on road network, potable water, health, and education.
What we intend to do is to ensure that we can take this back to Parliament. Parliament reviews the findings of the Auditor General using these tools, and then can make recommendations to the executive to correct all of these anomalies. Some of the corrections we expect to be made is to re-award some of those projects that are currently not performing, and in cases where funds needs to be returned back to Treasury.
It also arms oversight agencies with requisite information to then begin to call into account parties that were involved in the implementation of those projects.
In another development, the Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Muhammad Barikindo, says the organization is focused on avoiding a possible glut before the meeting scheduled for April this year. Barikindo, in an interview with Reuters at the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos, said OPEC does not rule out more action if industrialized nations' stocks continue to rise above the the 5-year average. Worried by a drop in oil prices and rising supplies, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and non-OPEC countries such as Russia agreed in December 2018 to return to production cuts in 2019. And here is a quick check on how the equity markets fared on Thursday. With business news, I'm Kunle Adeyeye.
Thank you, Kunle, for the business package on Good Morning Nigeria. No Super Review is next on the program.
All right, it's Friday. Do men really get excited when it's Friday? Because I know women,
Really? Well, that's the difference between you and we don't express our excitement.
Well, my producer says not all
women. We do them
women.
quietly. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Kingsley. Good morning, Nigeria.
Welcome. All right, let's get on with it now. And Kingsley, do I start with Daily Trust?
Yeah, just kick off. There are political stories mainly, actually, so let's kick off.
Okay, let me start with this one. This is not a political story. It's the lead story on the front page of Daily Trust. It's minimum wage matter, and it says, Labour meets today as bill passes second reading. And it has a rider, private sector accepts 27,000 naira. And another one there, how we're living on 18,000 naira. You can find the details of that. It's on page 8. And then back to the political stories now. You can see a picture story of the Zik Mausoleum and Conference Center, which was commissioned yesterday by President Muhammadu Buhari at Inonsi Onira Retreat in Onitsha, Anambra State. And of course, with Governors Akinwumi Ambode of Lagos and Willie Obiano, as well as Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige. All that, of course, all of them right there. And you have some trending stories at the bottom. Let me put a stop for now.
Well, I'll just take the stories on the front page of the New Telegraph. New Telegraph, the lead story says, U.S., U.K. to prosecute and place visa ban on Nigerian politicians for instigating violence and undermining elections. Now, you can see the quotes there from the two countries, saying one from the U.S., the other from the U.K. I don't know how they're going to prosecute Nigerian politicians for election violence. What jurisdiction do they have? But from the U.S., it's saying we and other democratic nations will be paying close attention to actions of individuals who interfere in the democratic process or instigate violence against the civilian population before, during, or after the elections. That's the U.S. UK, our monitors will in particular be looking out for any attempts to encourage or use violence to influence the elections. This may have consequences for individuals. This will include their eligibility to travel to the UK, their ability to access UK-based funds, or to lead to prosecution under international law. That's according to the UK. Other political stories now above the nameplate of the New Telegraph. This is from Kwara. I'll beat Saraki Sili in senatorial race. That's Olori Egbe. And the Senate President Saraki himself replies, you are daydreaming. Of course, they will have their day on the 16th of February. Now, below the nameplate, INEC officials convicted over 264.8 million naira poll fraud. That's from 2015, page 7. Polls, we have identified flashpoints, troublemakers. That's according to the police. Court of Appeal sacks Ghana, reinstates Duke as SDP presidential candidate, page 4. And on page 34, Ohaneze Ndigbo endorses Atiku for presidency. And bottom half of the paper, you have Ezekwesili, why I pulled out of presidential race. And the party, ACPN, refund our donations. And you see the president there, Muhammadu Buhari, being presented with his portrait by a physically challenged person. and that took place in Enugu yesterday. Also, there is a story on the minimum wage. National Assembly to pass 27,000 naira minimum wage bill Tuesday. Buhari hails senators and reps for accelerated hearing. That's on page 6.
Yes, Kingsley, just before Bayo comes in, because we have limited time for review today, you talked about the US and the UK warnings. I also have those here on the front page of the Nigerian Pilot. And just to read out some, threatened visa ban on election riggers, and say election important not only for Nigeria, but the African continent. Now, coming from the US, it says, we support a genuinely free, fair, transparent, peaceful electoral process. And from the UK, it says, we'll watch out for attempts to encourage or use violence to influence the elections. That's the UK. There are also other trending political stories, as Kingsley read out. Bayo.
Yes. Well, there are so many perspectives now, but let's start from the court. The Court of Appeal, the Abuja Division, has ordered the Court of Conduct Tribunal to state further proceedings on the trial of Chief Justice of Nigeria. The court also ordered the CCT to stop the suit requesting the Chief Justice to step down from his position as Chief Justice of Nigeria. This is subject to the appeal that came before it, and it has now fixed the 30th of this month for hearing. The other court issue relates to the case of the Social Democratic Party. The Court of Appeal Abuja Division has nullified the judgment of the Federal High Court Abuja over the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party. The three-man court appeal panel restored Donald Duke as the authentic candidate of the party. The Court of Appeal said the verdict of the Federal High Court was perverse and also wrong. On the political scene, President Muhammadu Buhari visited Enugu and Anambra yesterday for official engagements as well as campaign. At the University of Enugu, he commissioned a 9 billion naira postgraduate complex. Governor of Central Bank indicated that a similar project is available at the Ahmadu Bello University and the University of Ibadan. The president, while campaigning, enjoyed the people to vote all APC candidates, and he lamented that the roads and projects have been abandoned in the Southeast over the years. He promised that completion of many of them if he is given opportunity of second time. Also at Kaduna, the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar assured the people of peace and security if the PDP is returned to power. He said Kaduna will be restored to its glory and the youth will be engaged. However, for the ACPN, the presidential candidate Obi Ezekwesili has withdrawn her presidential candidate. But INEC says, no, you can't withdraw, which means her name will still be on the ballot paper. INEC explains that the time for withdrawal lapsed since November 17th. Therefore, no candidate can withdraw. The party, on its part, particularly her running mate and party chairman, has declared that the party has now queued behind the all-progressive candidate. The issue of visa, the only thing that the two embassies says they will prosecute is restriction of visa for persons who are involved in electoral violence or instigating violence. The United States Embassy is categorical about that persons who they have proof of being involved will be denied visa. The United Kingdom also said the same thing, that the High Commission would not only restrict visas, but they will also restrict access for funds that are available in the United Kingdom.
Okay, let's quickly take on some other stories. Well, we have on the front page of the Nigerian Pilot, President Buhari, just below the nameplate, I appoint heads of security purely on merit, Buhari tells Igbo people. And just the picture story there, of course, shows the acting Inspector General of Police, of course, with some diplomats, including the UK ambassador to Nigeria, the High Commissioner and Permanent Representative to ECOWAS, and, of course, the Deputy Chief of Mission Embassy of United States of America, all there. Now, trending at the bottom, INEC fails to defend declaration of Oyetola as Osun governor. Too late to withdraw from presidential race, INEC tells Ezekwesili. And Nigerian Army cautions media against divulging classified information. 3 ruling houses challenged exclusion from Lafia Emir selection, and 2 INEC staff jailed for collecting bribe from Diziani Madweke. I think that's the major stories, Kingsley.
Yeah, I don't have any other story on the front page of the New Telegraph, but there is a follow-up story. Bayo, if you recall, it must have been a couple of days ago, yes. From the House of Representatives, there was a report in some of the papers indicating that the House said there were errors in the 2019 appropriation. Now, on page 7 of the New Telegraph, that can't be uploaded on the screen now. It says, no error in 2019 budget. Akabweze insists. Akabweze is the Director General Budget Office of the Federation. He said that there was a meeting that took place yesterday between officials of the Budget Office and the Secretariat of the House Appropriations Committee, and that they returned a verdict of no errors in the 2019 budget. And this was in a statement that the Akabweze himself, the DG Budget Office, signed personally.
Which means that from discussions, they have clarified that there were no errors.
Errors in the meantime. That's what we're taking a look. The other one, of course, before taking the editorial, is what ADEC is saying. ADEC is right. If there's a time delimited for withdrawal, you didn't withdraw at that time, at this moment, you cannot be out of the race, because all the money...
You cannot abandon your commitment.
Yeah, that's right. You cannot be out of the race. Perhaps what is required should be, at some point, some penalty for seeking to pull out at this stage. If you imagine the cost that has gone into the production of materials that are involved, particularly the ballot papers. There are administrative costs involved, but if you are printing the ballot paper for, say, 70 candidates, it's not the same as printing for 50 candidates. The ballot size is not the ink you are going to use, and tens of millions of those papers that you are going to produce. So, and then...
Might she be liable in any way?
Well, no, that's... no, she's not liable. But, of course, the party's name will still be on the ballot. That's the party's name, and her name will also still be on the record as a candidate. If, for any reason, she wins, then, of course, that becomes another issue. Because the party can then make a substitution to say, listen, you had actually pulled out of the race. And that was why that happened. But that looks unlikely. I think the handwriting was pretty on the wall much earlier.
Very interesting.
Yeah, page 18, that's where the editorial is from the Punch newspaper. It says, confronting militants' threat to oil facilities. Editorial opens by saying that the Niger Delta militants have been issuing a slew of threats to disrupt oil production and harm the economy. And part of what the editorial also advocates is that remediating the Niger Delta environment with Ogoni as a cradle has begun. It's a huge project that cannot be done untidily. Patience is required, but pressure from all stakeholders should continue to mount on the government for it to keep faith with the project. And dousing tension in the Niger Delta is something that the President should continue to work on by using the NDDC as an interventionist agency and ensure that the area is free of toxic political disquiet.
Well, the essence of the editorial is the concern expressed by the paper, which is the Punch, about agitations, and particularly from militants and other agitators from the Niger Delta. And it goes back to history to say that as close as 2016, the agitations were very high, and Vice President, then as acting president, visited. And presently, the demands of the persons there seem to center on the three critical issues. Demands for the Bakassi people, particularly their settlement, funding for the Maritime University, and the other one is redeeming the environment, particularly the Ogoni, cleaning up of the Ogoni, which has been on the drawing board for over 3 years now. They also lament that the intention of government in establishing the NNDC was to ensure that it will reduce tension, and you now had a federal institution that will directly take care of it. They lament, however, that recent indication that about 200 billion naira worth of contract activities have been cancelled due to corruption and abuse is a matter of concern. And so the editorial concludes that there is need to reposition the NNDC to serve the purpose for which it was established, to serve the people of the Niger Delta.
Bayo, we know you enjoy your weekend.
I look forward to it. Thank you very much.
All right.
Oh, by the way, do you use plates?
I'll have to ask questions.
All right, Bayo TV, thanks a lot for being around. See you on Monday. Yes. Okay, it's Good Morning Nigeria still on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll be dealing with health matters. First has to do with cooking oils. that we use in Nigeria, how safe are they? That concerns all of us. And of course, the second topic will be on politics. And they take a short break now.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Helen!
Hey, where's your mom?
Today is her toilet day.
What? Helen! Toilet day? Tomorrow you're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with all this, it still won't be party ready. Impossible! Challenge? New Ticker Harpic 10X. Even if you use this solution 10 times, it won't give you the same cleaning like Harpic because its new Ticker formulation sticks to the bowl better, giving you a sparkling clean toilet.
Wow!
New Harpic 10X gives me the freedom from toilet day.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
bottle.
But we lost.
Don't be tired, guys. This isn't a loss. It's a practice for winning.
Nothing makes a mother prouder than seeing her child growing up. But I know as he learns to lead, he'll face even more dirt, germs, and risk of illness.
That's why in changing seasons, you need strong Dettol protection. Because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
All right, welcome to the program. It's a beautiful day, and we're going to have a good time today. So, yummy, yummy, old greasy taste. Yuck. So, it's all in your meal. This background report prompts our discussion on cooking oils in Nigeria. How safe? Let's hear from our correspondent, Victor Azu.
Nigerians are lovers of tasty meals, and globally, oil continues to play a crucial role in the preparation of such meals, be it palm oil or vegetable oil. While palm oil is extracted from palm fruits, the name vegetable oil is a generic term for cooking oils which are extracted from various plants such as groundnuts, soya bean, corn, cottonseed, rapeseed, canola, and the likes. Aided by favorable government policies, the Nigerian market has been saturated with countless vegetable oils produced in Nigeria and many more imported. However, while Nigerians continue to lick their hands from flavors garnished by cooking oils, there is a red flag as nutritionists have attributed the prevalence of health-related diseases to the intake of oil brands, especially vegetable oil, which contain components that are not health-friendly. The big question is, what do those who sell cooking oils know about its safety, production, and potency? We visited the Garki market in Abuja to find out.
The bad ones, they use the palm kernel that is not good. They used to put color on it. But the one that is good, you will see the one that is bad, it has they thick. But the one that is good is they light.
Sometimes if somebody wants to see this oil is correct one, no peg, you understand the cover of the oil. If you say and sealant very well, so that one is correct one. Don't why no sealant very well, that one is no correct, it's peg.
Most of the red oils are colored. They have some colors they put on it that I don't think is healthy to the body. But some of them are good. Some that come direct from the village are really nice. Okay. From the taste, you will know which is which.
Experts say most vegetable oils in the market are preserved by partial hydrogenation, a process whereby a fraction of the unstable polyunsaturated fats are converted to much more stable trans fats to give commercial vegetable oils their unnaturally long shelf lives. While the various regulatory agencies in the country, such as the NAFDAC, have embarked on a series of sensitization programs on the need to buy only cholesterol-free vegetable oils, guests on Good Morning Nigeria will attempt to answer the question, cooking oils, how safe?
Very serious business we have today. Victor Azu, thank you very much for that background report. We have joining us in the studios here in Abuja, the Director General of NAFDAC. That's Professor Mojisola Christiana Adeyeye. Professor Adeyeye, pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
All right. And we also have with us on Good Morning Nigeria, Mrs. Sarah Abagai. Mrs. Sarah Abagai is a retired dietitian and was, of course, the chief nutritionist at the National Hospital. She's now CEO, Century Nutrition Service. Ms. Abagai, pleasure to have you on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Also here with us in the studios is Dr. Oladepupo Fason. Dr. Fason is a consultant cardiologist at the National Hospital in Abuja. Dr. Fason, pleasure to have you on the program.
Yeah, pleasure is mine. Thanks for having me.
Right, let me also quickly welcome Ngozi Onwukwe. She is a restaurateur, CEO, Musini African Cuisine. We'd like to thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you and good morning.
And I also want to welcome from our Benin Network Center, Dr. Isona Gold. And Dr. Gold is Fats and Oils Chemist, Director, Head Information and Documentation Department of the Nigerian Institute for Oil Palm Research, NIFO. Of course, like I said, he joins us from our Bini Network Center. We'd like to thank you, Dr. Gold, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
For the benefit of our viewers, NIFO is near Benin, just on the outskirts now, after our local junction, is the foremost oil palm research institute in Nigeria today. It used to be, at some point, it was known as OPRS, that's Oil Palm Research Station, and WIFO, and it now became NIFO. I think it probably just began the conversation with Dr. Isona Gold. Dr. Isona Gold, beginning with you in our Benin Network Center, tell us the range of edible oils that are available.
Thank you very much. In the Nigerian market today, we have basically 5 oils. We have the palm oil, we have palm kernel oil, we have soybean oil, we have cottonseed oil, we have groundnut oil. The other oils are in minor quantities. The coconut oil is in minor quantities. It's not significant in the Nigerian economy. These are the 5 main oils in our economy at the moment.
All right, maybe I should take it a bit further by asking you again. When we started, I said yummy, yummy or greasy taste. So what, characterizes our meals today? Dr. Gold, I said yummy, yummy or greasy taste. What do you think is characterizing or defining our meals today?
Come again, please.
Can you hear us? Okay, maybe we should come back here when we get that sorted out. Of course, we return to him. Okay, let me start with of course, the restaurateur here. That's Ngozi Onwukwe. What do you think characterize our meals today? Is it yummy, yummy or greasy taste?
Okay, truth is, we have all kinds of oils in the market, and substandard ones are everywhere. But for me, as a restaurateur, I go for a certain kind of oil. Because some people who contact me directly, they tell me the kind of oil they want to eat, like...
What do you see generally, even before we come to what you do?
Okay.
Generally, as a restaurateur, what do you see?
What I see is the market is filled with a lot of bad oils. It is.
Okay. Again, Mrs. Abagai. I'd like you to come in here because this is your area. What characterizes our meals today?
Greasy taste. Greasy taste. Coming from a lot of frying. You know, our food culture has actually changed very significantly lately. And you find that we eat lots of fried foods. People have gadgets in their homes now. Deep fryers. So, you know, frying becomes a major part of the family's menu. People no longer, families in particular, would no longer follow, you know, a strict menu, as it were, for the family. Everybody decides to eat whatever they please, you know, whatever pleases them. You know, probably if, you know, this yummy, yummy thing you were talking about, you know, let's say, eba with a goosey soup or good vegetable soup is, you know, prepared for the family. And then while at table, another member comes and looks at it and says, no, I prefer to eat, you know, French fries because there's a deep fryer in the house with lots of oil, you know, in it. So frying, you know, is a daily thing in most homes these days. And, you know, even the fast food outlets, they thrive more on these greasy, you know, tastes we're talking about. There is hardly any meal you will get, you know, when you order that there is nothing, or rather no component of it being fried. So that is where we are today in Nigeria.
Well, we saw Dr. Gold back again on the screen a moment ago. I don't know, our directors, do we have the audio clear to him? Back, Dr. Gold, let's try you again and see whether we can get across to you. Earlier, you ticked off the range of edible oils that are available in the Nigerian market. You talked about palm oil, palm kernel oil. You probably would tell us the distinguishing features between palm oil and palm kernel oil. And in particular, why is it that some palm oil would appear to be redder than red?
Well, if you look at the palm fruit, you have the mesocarp and the kernel. The oil from the mesocarp is what we call the palm oil. That is orange-red in color. Now, the oil from the kernel is what we call the palm kernel oil. That is light yellow in color. Now, when you are processing palm oil, you process for two grades. That is special palm oil and then the technical palm oil. The technical palm oil is actually made as raw materials for industrial use, for soap making, for detergent production, and all the other sorts. But traders now take the technical palm oil, which is left in a pit over a period of time, because you need to accumulate it before you can sell. You know, they take the technical palm oil that is now bleached, you know, by the sun, and add a colorant. Some of these colorants are mainly azo dyes. And these azo dyes are made for both food and non-food uses. In fact, at the moment, in America and Europe, they have regulated the use of these azo dyes in food products. But here in Nigeria, because of ignorance, you still find these traders using azo dyes that are even meant for textiles, azo dyes that are made for plastics, and adding it to oil just to make the color attractive to probably now attract buyers. So that is the major danger in what they currently sell in the market. Otherwise, if you buy your oil directly from the producers, maybe people that have the oil palm estates, you know, like you see today, Presco is a big producer. They do retail packaging of palm oil. Okomu is a big producer. They do retail packaging of palm oil. Saturn Farms, Nosak Farms in Benin is a big producer. They do retail packaging of palm oil. So if you actually look out for these products in the market, I think you will be in a safe position to buy palm oil.
Hold on, in any of these companies, Dr. Isona Gold. I was asking if you are a shareholder in any of these companies, but thanks a lot for the information. We will pause you in the meantime and return because we're just talking, Claire, only about cooking oils. We know that, of course, you have a range of oils. Fat is also part of it that you find in all kinds of snacks, you know, whether it is your crackers, whether it's your biscuit, or whether it's that little one. I don't want to mention the, there's a particular product that goes by that, very popular, you know, it's in one small sachet like this. We used to take it when we were much younger. But let's bring in now the Director General of NAFDAC. That's Dr. Adeyeye. I don't think we've had you on Good Morning Nigeria since you came into office. No. So just as well that we are using this, just give us your opinion on what you are seeing. You have seen the visuals, and I'm sure that you have had the experience, you know, of probably going to the marketplace and seeing what plays out. And just listening now to the other guests, our food is oily and greasy. The expert from Benin tells us how traders, of course, are abusing technical oil and adding all kinds of dangerous additives, including dyes. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are very personal, aside from being the chief regulator, because food can be our medicine if we take it right, or medicine can be our food. if we don't eat right. Let me just give you an example. Last weekend, I went to Osun, and my police details, well, I stopped by the side of the road to buy plantain, and my police details also wanted to buy some things, including palm oil. And I said, why are you buying palm oil? He said, well, many times when you go to Lagos, they add stuff to it. It's very scary. Because the azo dyes that was just mentioned now, many of them are not for food. We have increase of kidney problems in Nigeria, partly because of food. Because these azo dyes settle in the kidney and they start damaging the tissue. In NAFDAC, we have big concerns. WHO has its specifications or limits as to trans fatty acids, saturated fats that we should be taking. But as our dietitian just mentioned, we eat for the moment, whereas we should be eating for life. Frying food a lot is a problem. There's nothing wrong in once in a while eat fried food. But if we make it part of our daily diet, then we have problems. Even overuse of oil that was previously used for frying causes hydrogenation. And these partially hydrogenated fats are called trans fats. And trans fats and saturated fats are causes of cardiovascular diseases, stroke, diabetes, and we have an epidemic of stroke, diabetes in Nigeria, partly due to our food. So what we have, of course, this azo dye that was mentioned, when we test our food in the lab, we look for dyes. And if it has a dye, we will not approve it. However, we have very porous borders. A lot of our food are smuggled in through Seme, through Idiroko, through so many of these porous borders, north, south, east, just name it. So many of the food, oils, bad oils that are found, aside from our own natural palm oil and whatnot, are smuggled in. They are not registered products. And that is the dilemma that we have because of our porous borders. We do a lot of course, control at the borders, but we're going to have to reinforce more with staff.
Okay. Thank you, DJ NAFDAC. Let me also, I want to be able to break this down, so that we all, get to know what we're talking about really, so that every viewer will be able to identify what we're talking about. All the trans fats and, saturated fats and all that, seem to be theoretical for us. So I'm going to ask, what are the healthiest cooking oil? We've talked about the palm kernel oil. We've talked about the palm oil and all that. What about the vegetable oils? Again, before we bring in the cardiologist, I'd like Mrs. Abagai to also talk to us. How can we know the healthiest cooking oil?
Well, the oils actually are categorized into three. You have first the good oils. And these are usually, we call them liquid oils. You find rather they are liquid at room temperature, generally. Then, you will have, oils like groundnut oil, olive oil. Yes.
The good oils are liquid.
Usually.
At room temperature.
Yes, but you will still get to a point where you would have to, make preferences or distinctions based on how they, react in the body. You understand? Some of them carry essential fatty acids, while others don't. You understand? The ones that carry essential acids, which we call omega-3 fatty acids, because omega-3 fatty acids has become essential in the sense that the body cannot manufacture it. So you have to, source it from food. And oils are usually, the source. And such good oils include your olive oil, avocado oil, groundnut oil may not have, it may not have omega-3 fatty acids, but it belongs to the class of good healthy oils. Okay. You understand? We have also almond oils. We have, macadamia oil. These ones are, healthy oils that we can use.
And the soya oil that you have?
The soya oil, sesame oil, and, all the other seed oils. They belong to the category of polyunsaturated. This thing will always come, whether monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, because this is the distinction. If you have oil that is polyunsaturated, it breaks down very easily at high temperatures. And these are the ones you have commonly used, especially by, food outlets. And they use them and keep recycling them. The moment you get these oils, heated up to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, they begin to degenerate, releasing the peroxides. You understand? Free radicals are generated from that time. And these are very dangerous to health. You understand? And that is why in most cases, you will hear that it is a lot more beneficial for you to consume these nuts and seeds in their raw state than when they are roasted or fried. Because any form of heat treatment on the sources of these oils affects the oil and breaks it down and makes it unhealthy.
Okay, well, Dr.
And that is why, that is why you will hear also that, oil is priced very, very expensively when it is called cold-pressed oil.
Okay.
Because of the process involved. There's no heat treatment, it is extracted, through a cold process. No heat treatment applied. So that is oil that is the most healthy that you can use.
All right, Mrs. Sarah Bagai, thank you very much. Now, of course, he's been listening to all of the comments and interventions by the other guests. We're talking about Dr. Oladepupo Fason, who is a consultant cardiologist at the National Hospital. So we're getting to the heart of the matter now. What is it that, first of all, we know from presentations at the hospital with regard to ailments that may be related to the consequences of the kinds of oils that we use?
Okay, thank you for having me. As a cardiologist, where I come in primarily is to look at the effect of oils on the cardiovascular system. Basically, we know that in Nigeria today, all over the world, Nigeria inclusive, there is a massive rise in the number of cardiovascular diseases that we are seeing. I mean, when I say cardiovascular diseases, I mean heart attacks, strokes, and the likes. In Nigeria, we know that the rate of these conditions have gradually climbed up, and a large number of these things are due to risk factors that we could prevent. Now, amongst those risk factors we could prevent is the consumption of oil. So, as had been said earlier, there are different types of oils, but usually the one we want to advise people to use are those that are unsaturated. So there are largely two types of those unsaturated. It could be monounsaturated, it could be polyunsaturated. Either way, unsaturated. Now, as the dietitian had said earlier, a simple way of differentiating the two is that the saturated ones, which we don't want people to eat, will congeal in room air. Okay. Whereas the unsaturated ones usually will not congeal in room air. Now, so we look at palm oil. Palm oil as it is, I've seen the presentations, the ones that congeal, and going by the doctor in Benin's statement, obviously contains the ones that congeal contains largely the saturated part. So those ones are bad. Because I remember even generally as a young boy, my mom would say that the congealed one is bad and the type of palm oil that doesn't congeal is better and is even more expensive. So even in our own social system, without having the scientific backup, they have an idea, or they had an idea of which palm oil is good, which one is bad. The ones that congeal are cheaper usually in the market.
The ones that sleep, if
Yes,
we use that,
sleep.
that's what they say, the ones that sleep.
Yes.